Plenty of real ones.
P6, complex numbers. I just don't think there's enough.
There's definitely enough. My notebook says there's plenty. Every year I get way more than one notebook with notes and homework. Last year I got a three subject notebook. I could get one of those in school.
Alright, so these first ones are just basically finding the sum or difference and then writing it in standard form. So remember that's a plus bi. So just like terms, we can only combine the things that are similar. So the complex and then the real numbers. So 2 plus 3, so we've got 5. And then negative 3i plus negative 4i, so it's negative 7i. And that's all you have to do for those. With something like 4, we're going to have 2 plus I minus 9i minus 3. So just need to be careful when we're doing these ones to make sure that we are still doing like terms, but that we also pay attention to this minus sign here. So 2 minus negative 3, so it's 2 plus 3, which is 5. And then I minus 9i, so it's going to be negative 8i. With 6, we have the square root of 5 minus 3i plus negative 2 plus the square root of negative 9. So what do you notice about this one?
There are square roots, and one of them is negative.
Okay, so what do I need to do with the one that's negative? And what else?
Convert that to negative 3i.
Yep, negative 3i. Or, well, no, it's still plus 3i.
Yeah.
The negative is the I. So this will be plus 3i in place of that. So now when we go to combine our like terms, square root of 5 plus negative 2. So that's going to be, I'm going to write it this way, negative 2 plus the square root of 5. And then I've got negative 3i plus 3i. So that's just going to be 0. So my answer is just going to be this negative 2 plus the square root of 5. And another one that's just a little bit different. Number 8, the square root of 7 plus I squared minus 6 minus the square root of negative 81. So what do we see with this one?
So we have an I squared and
What is I squared?
That's negative 1.
So this is going to be a negative 1. And then what else do I notice?
The negative square root.
Which is going to be what?
Negative 9i.
Negative 9i. Now, notice that this negative was, hold on, let me back up. This was negative square root of negative 81, so that's why this is going to be negative. So I'm actually going to do this, and I'm going to cross that out like that to show that that whole thing is being replaced with negative 9i so that I don't get confused. So I now have, just to make sure it's easy to see, square root of 7 minus 1 minus 6 minus 9i. Okay, just make sure we can see it. So then to combine everything, I only have the one I term, so it's going to be square root of 7, and then negative 1 minus 6, so that's going to be negative 7. Now, don't forget this negative sign here also has to go on this 9i, negative 9i. So negative times negative is going to be positive, so plus 9i. And your book is going to do this to show standard form, so it's still a plus bi. If you didn't put the parentheses, I would not mark it wrong. So our next ones are find the product, okay, and then still write it in standard form when it's all said and done. So 10, got 2 minus I times 1 plus 3I. So still foiling, like, we always have. So that's going to be 2 plus 6I minus I minus 3I squared. I squared is -1. So this whole piece right here is going to become +3. Okay, we follow that. Okay. And then, so I'm going to combine the 3 and the 2 and then the I term. So that's going to be 5 plus 5I. I've got the square root of -2 plus 2I times 6 plus 5I. So foiling again, so this is going to be 6 square root of -2. Actually, if we want to, we can go ahead and rewrite this first as, just to save a step in a minute. The square root of -2, we can rewrite that as 2I. So that way when I'll do this, so just trying to save it. So 2I times 6, so that's going to be 12I instead of what I was writing before. Or wait, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's supposed to be I, yes. That's why I was looking at it, I was like, wait, something's wrong, hold on. So it's going to be I square root of 2. There we go. I was so used to the other ones we've been doing, you could just pull it out. Not that one. Apparently I need to bring back cookie points for y'all, because y'all get them a lot. Okay. Try this one more time. 6I square root of 2. And then 5I squared root 2. And then plus 12I. Right? Yep. I was just doing the steps out of order. And then plus 10I squared. All right, am I right now?
Yes.
Okay. So then these I squareds, this is going to become -5 square root of 2. This is going to become -10. So then I will have -5 square root of 2 minus 10 plus 6I square root of 2 plus 12I. And I'm not yet in A plus BI because 2 terms still have an I in them, so I'm going to take an I out of that. So I'm going to have -5 square root of 2 minus 10, and the book would put that in parentheses. The other option is you could take the negative out if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it. Plus 6 square root of 2 plus 12 in parentheses times I. So that puts us in A plus B. I now. Remind me when I'm done and I'll put cookie points up. All right, write the expression in the form bi where b is a real number. So 18 via the square root of negative 25, that would be equal to what? 5i. And if I had square root of negative 5, that would be what? Yep, I squared of 5. I prefer it written this way, but technically in standard form, you know the I goes at the end, but square root of 5 and then I. Just make sure it's very distinct. If you write it this way, that the I is not under the radical. Let's see. Find the real numbers x and y that make the equation true. So 3 plus yi is equal to x minus 7i. So basically, I'm just looking at this and saying what is x and what is y. So what is x? So these would be exactly matched up.
3.
So like 3 minus 7i. So 3. Yep. So there's a by itself. And then y would be
7.
-7 because this was positive over here it's negative, so this would be -7. 24, same instructions, x plus 6i is equal to 3 minus I plus 4 minus 2yi. So this one, it's the same instructions and overall the principle is the same, but right now the right and the left side do not look the same. So what do I need to do to make them look the same? Yep, I'm going to combine like terms on the right side. So x plus 6i on the left is equal to 3 plus 4, so 7. And then negative I plus negative 2yi. So that is going to be minus 3yi. Okay, and I know you're probably like, but they don't both have a y in them. That's okay. Okay, y is just a number. We're not sure what it is yet. So that's why we can do that. So x would be what?
7.
And y? -2. So we have 6i is equal to -3yi basically. So our i's cancel because we have an I on each side, so that's going away. Then we would have a y left over here, so I would divide by -3, so 6 divided by -3 would be -2. And that's how we would get that. We tracking with that? Okay. Did y'all have this written down that's like the I, -1, -I1?
Yeah.
Is that in there? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Just to verify, you have all this complex conjugates, division, multiplicative identity, all that. Okay. And complex solutions of quadratic equations.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Keep right on moving. So, let's see, 30. Find the product of the complex number and its conjugate. So, this is something like, let's see, they give us 5 minus 6i. So, what would its conjugate be? Or its complex conjugate.
5 plus 6i.
Yeah. Okay. Like
Yep.
where you're doing something over something, is that like?
That would be when we would use the complex conjugate, but they just want us to say what is the conjugate and multiply them. They're basically having you do like the denominator
Okay.
part without actually doing the whole thing to start with. So this is now a what?
Difference of squares.
Difference of squares.
I was gonna say perfect square.
So that's, I know, she was like, just kidding.
No.
So that's going to be 25 minus 36i squared, or also known as plus 36, so 25 plus 36, which is going to be 61. So that multiplied together is what that's going to end up giving you. So basically those problems are just gearing you up for the ones where you're actually needing to get rid of the stuff in the denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and jump down to those ones. So 34 I over 2 minus I. So I don't like i's in the bottom, so that's the problem. So what am I going to multiply this one by?
Plus I over 2 plus I.
Yep. So on top, we're just distributing, so that'll just be 2 plus I squared over, on the bottom, I've got the difference of squares, so it'll be 4, whoa, no, not that. Go away.
Wouldn't it be 2i plus I squared on top?
Yes. Yes. And then on the bottom, it'll be 4 minus I squared.
That's so really low.
I know. So I squared is negative 1. So down here, this is going to become plus 1. So I've got on top 2i minus 1 over 5. But I'm not done. It needs to be in standard form. Okay, so I need to reorder how this is written. So this is going to become negative 1/5 plus 2 over 5 times I. Okay, so I just flipped the order of it. And remember, I can split it because the denominator was just one thing, not stuff being added together. Is the stuff ringing a bell?
Yep.
Okay.
Remember last year we had that one really long problem. Did you lose yours or something? Yes.
I tried to do
like
it.
half the page. Exactly.
Oh, I only took up like 7 lines, I think.
I didn't even
something.
try. Like I did like the first 5 lines and then.
I'm pretty sure you all ended up getting it.
No.
I know I got
I
it.
thought you did. You just had like 3 times as many steps as I did.
No, that was a couple weeks ago we did something. I had a very close answer, but I remember
Josh had to help me.
You
Yeah,
were
and
like,
then I
it
tried
should
to
only
redo it and I
take like
didn't get it.
max half the page. It took me at least half the page.
I feel
It's
so
like there was
defeated.
something wrong, and
Well,
it's
At least
definitely
you
me.
got there. I got that one wrong. That was the only one, so I was like, oh.
I didn't get there. I got
14 steps. So there's only like 3 of us, and one of us gets it wrong. It's kind of awkward. Okay.
All right, what do I have to multiply this one by?
Negative 3i. Do we want to throw a 0 in there?
0.
I don't know. Are we
How
like
about just I?
I?
So we've already got imaginary numbers.
Oh.
We do not need more.
I don't need to add extras. I just need to get rid of the I. The only reason we ever use another number with it is when it's already like added or subtracted, like with something else. Because otherwise you're going to end up having to reduce it at the end. So not that you can't do it that way, but not the smartest way to do it.
It's going to take you at least half.
All right, so let's see if I can do it right this time. 2i plus I squared over 3i squared. So my I squared on top is going to become negative 1. 3i squared on the bottom is going to become negative 3. So then again, I just need to reorder it so that we're in standard form. So this is going to be negative 1, well, over negative 3. So that's going to end up becoming positive, so I'm just going to erase them. And then minus 2 over 3 times I. Do we follow that? I know I kind of just like erase things randomly. And so I just hate having so many extra steps that you don't need to have.
Why'd you look at me like that? Immediately. Without skipping a beat.
Okay, didn't even mean it like that, but everybody stares at Riley. All right, one more semi-hard one, and then we just have one more, and then we're actually done. So didn't take as long as we thought. 2 minus I times 1 plus 2i over 5 plus 2i. So my personal recommendation is before you decide I'm going to multiply by the conjugate would be to go ahead and multiply this up on the top first so that you get it simplified as much as possible so that you're not trying to multiply like 3 sets of parentheses by each other, just to make life a little easier. So on top I have 2 plus 4i minus I minus 2i squared. All over 5 plus 2i. So now I've got, well, negative 2i squared is going to be plus 2. So I'm going to have 4 plus 3i over 5 plus 2i. So now I'm multiplying by 5 minus 2i. So on top I've got 20 minus 8i plus 15i minus 6i squared. On the bottom, 25 minus 4i squared. So negative 6i squared is becoming positive 6. Negative 4i squared is becoming positive 4. So on top, I have 26 plus 7i over 29. And then I need to split it for standard form. So 26 over 29 plus 7 over 29i. All right, and then the last one is going to be a quadratic equation problem and solving it, and it's just going to end up having an I with it. So, 42, 3x squared plus x plus 2 equals 0. So you're always welcome to see first if you can factor it. This one can't. So quadratic formula, so negative b, so that's going to be -1 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 1 squared, minus 4 times 3 times 2, all over 2 times 3. So we've got -1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 24, so -23, all over 6. So an I is coming out of that, so -1 plus or minus I root 23 over 6. And then I just need to split it, so we're in standard form. So -1 over 6 plus or minus square root of 23 over 6 I. Any questions on any of this stuff? All right, so your problems, and I will give you time tomorrow to do them as well, just because it is a lot. 1, 5, 7, 11, 15, 17, 23, 31, 35, 39, and 41.